We also recognize, just as it has been in the United States for Jamaica, one of the issues that has been presented as an issue that is economic in the way of its impact has been the pandemic. So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in COVID recovery by assisting in terms of the recovery efforts in Jamaica that have been essential to, I believe, what is necessary to strengthen not only the issue of public health, but also the economy. And this is on top of more than what we have done throughout the year since the start of the pandemic, $12 million in COVID assistance, and more than 600,000 vaccinations or vaccines that have been donated. I often note and have talked with many of you about our shared belief that our world is increasingly more interconnected and interdependent. That is especially true when it comes to the climate crisis, which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on to galvanize global action. With that, I thank you all. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together. You know, the bottom line is this. On this issue of mental health, you know, one way to think of it is this. If you knew someone who broke their arm, you would help them. You would make sure they went to the hospital to get a cast. And after they came home, well, on their way home, you probably opened the door for them. You'd help them when they got home to get the support they need to heal through the point that they're feeling pain and then just need to heal. We have to do the same when it comes to mental health. I think for too long our system has failed to understand the significance of this. I think for too long when we think about healthcare, we act as though the body just starts from the neck down. Instead of understanding, we also need to address healthcare from the neck up. Mental health. And I will tell you, most of my career, in fact, all of my career, children have been one of my main areas of focus. What we can do to protect them, to keep them safe, to protect their well-being, and to nurture them in all the ways we know we have a responsibility as a society to do. You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community. And in that way, we should all feel a direct sense of responsibility for their well-being. Because that, of course, is part of the history of America. To teach this history is to help all of us as Americans understand where we come from. And to teach this history is to help us understand who we are. Because you see, this is also American history. And we must teach it as it really happened, so that we can learn from our best moments and learn from our darkest moments. And in particular then, to ensure they are never repeated, our darkest moments. By equipping people with knowledge and historical context, then we can fight ignorance, dispel misinformation, and work toward a future where all people can live without fear, and a future where all people can help write the next chapter of American history.
Thank you, Kamala. I think I should just stop right there. Because if anybody can talk about this, Kamala can, like so many of you in the audience. You know, it's good to see you as well, Doug. It must be hard following this act all the time, right? You do it well.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let's continue to know we are not alone. We are all in this together. And keep doing what you do, because you have an incredible amount of courage. You have an incredible amount of conviction. You are dedicated. Know that is the sign of strength. It is the sign of strength. The measure of strength, in my opinion, is based not on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. And I know you're lifting up people every day. You are strong. We are here, and I am here in Poland today, as part of an enduring, long-standing friendship and commitment between the United States and Poland based on shared values and priorities. I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank and our NATO allies, and what is at stake at this very moment. What is at stake this very moment are some of the guiding principles around the NATO alliance, and in particular, the issue and the importance of defending sovereignty and territorial integrity, in this case of Ukraine. You and I discussed today many important topics, in particular as it relates to the eastern flank. I can tell you that the issue facing the Ukrainian people and our allies in the eastern flank is something that occupies one of our highest priorities in terms of paying attention to the needs, understanding it is a dynamic situation and requires us to be nimble and to be swift. I mentioned being swift in terms of accountability and consequence. We also fully appreciate we must be swift in terms of providing assistance where we can be helpful, and we will continue to do that. It cannot be said too frequently or strongly enough. The relationship between the United States and Poland is a deep, enduring, and strong one, and dare I say, has become even stronger when we have been faced as a world with such adversity. I think we all know, even in our personal lives, adversity really, truly can present the real measure of an individual or a relationship. And what we have seen, without any doubt, is that this friendship and relationship between the United States and Poland is a strong one. I want to be very clear. The United States and Poland are united in what we have done and are prepared to do to help Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. Full stop. The United States is prepared to defend every inch of NATO territory. The United States takes seriously that an attack against one is an attack against all. We all watched the television coverage of just yesterday. That's on top of everything else that we know and don't know yet, based on what we've just been able to see. And because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But just limit it to what we have seen. Pregnant women going for health care, being injured by, I don't know, a missile, a bomb, in an unprovoked, unjustified war, where a powerful country is trying to take over another country, violate its sovereignty, its territorial integrity, for the sake of what? Nothing that is justified or provoked? Absolutely there should be an investigation, and we should all be watching. And I have no question the eyes of the world are on this war and what Russia has done in terms of this aggression and these atrocities. I have no doubt. Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first. Okay, so this time.
This was a productive trip in terms of the extensive bilateral meetings that we had that were in furtherance of the ongoing collaboration and partnership with our allies. It was important in that, as you all know, this is a moment that is very dynamic, if not every hour, certainly every day. There seem to be new moments of interest and also of intelligence. And so we have affirmed, however, all of that being said, through these last couple of days, that this alliance is strong, probably stronger than it was before. Again, this is a dynamic situation. The purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence. But let's also recognize the unique nature of the sanctions that we have outlined. These are some of the greatest sanctions, if not the strongest, that we've ever issued. As I articulated yesterday, it is directed at institutions, in particular financial institutions, and individuals, and it will exact absolute harm for the Russian economy and their government.
But if Putin has made up his mind, do you feel that this threat that has been looming is really going to deter him?
Absolutely. We strongly believe. And remember also that the sanctions are a product not only of our perspective as the United States, but a shared perspective among our allies. And the allied relationship is such that we have agreed that the deterrence effect of these sanctions is still a meaningful one, especially because, remember also, we still sincerely hope that there is a diplomatic path out of this moment. And within the context then of the fact that that window is still although it is absolutely narrowing, but within the context of a diplomatic path still being open, the deterrence effect, we believe, has merit.